We are going to be into our readers in just a moment, but we're going to start with that vocabulary. So this is one we already talked about, but we have that BCE and that CE. So the BCE was before Common Christian Era, and then we have the CE, which is going to be the, or we just say the CE, which is that Common Era, okay? These are terms that distinguish between ancient Roman time periods. So before Common Christian Era and Common Era. So you're going to see these, you're watching. You're going to see these throughout our reading. All it's doing is describing different time periods that we're going to be going through. Our next word, or our next piece, is going to be, gotta get this to work. Civilization. What's our word? Civilization. This is one we've heard about and we've talked about. We've gone through. A civilization is a group of people who live together. Oftentimes, they're going to be living in cities. They're going to have the same laws. They're going to have the same leaders. They're going to have the same government, the same language, the same writing system. The civilization. Our next word is conquer. What's our word? Conquer. This means to take control of something by force. I will conquer the mighty dragon. I'm going to take him by force, right? It's not going to be like, oh, hey, move aside, please. That's not force. If you're conquering something, you're defeating it using force. You're taking control using force. And the last one you should all know is
Mediterranean Sea.
That Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean is going to be a content word I want you guys to start to build up in there. Today we are going to be reading out of our book, Stories of Ancient Rome. We are looking at Stories of Ancient Rome. Today in our reading, you're going to be we aren't even in them right now, but they're out. That's what I asked you to do. We're going to be introduced to a new character today, and we're going to be introduced to Miss Teachwell. And Miss Teachwell and her students are going to be helping us learn. So just like Mr. Rattenborough helped us with our animals unit, and we had Dr. Wellbody help us with our last one. This one, and Ricardo. This time we have Mrs. Teachwell and her students, and they are also learning about ancient Rome right along with us. Okay, Mrs. Teachwell. Well, we're going to come across it a little bit, but there are going to be a few students that we're going to come across in particular. We're going to learn about Charlie Chatter. What a silly name, right? Charlie Chatter. Rachel Reedmuch. Tim Timetable. And Dave King. So these are some of our students in our story we're going to come across today. The title of today's reading is Rome, Then and Now. How might a city change over time? We're going to be reading about Rome. How might it change over time? Joey.
There might be really old buildings and they might get older.
Yep, there might be really old buildings. They're going to get older, right? Yep. Kason?
I'm the same as Joey, but also they might have turned into older buildings and then they redid those other buildings.
Yep, sometimes they redo buildings as well into new buildings. Brock?
It might turn into ruins.
You're right. Grayson was going to say, I think might turn into ruins. Very good. Third graders, go ahead and open up to the table of contents in your book. Turn and tell your neighbor as we're getting it open, what is the purpose of the table of contents?
To tell you
Go ahead and take a moment to preview our chapters that we're going to be going through in this reading. You're just looking at the table of contents. You're not looking at anything else yet. They do. So, third graders, today we are going to read chapter 1, Rome, Then and Now. What page can we find it on?
2.
Go ahead and turn to page 2 with me. Rome, Then and Now. We should all be on our first page together. Everybody point to the title of today's reading. Rome, Then and Now. Please look at the map on page 3. The black dot labels where?
Rome.
Rome. Today, we're going to start by reading page 2 to yourselves. And I want you to read to find out, why are Mrs. Teachwell's students confused when she talks to them about the location of Rome on the map? So why are Mrs. Teachwell's students so confused when she talks about the location of Rome on the map? Go ahead and read to find out. I have to say, does Charlie Chatter sound like people in our class?
Yes.
We should just start calling you Charlie Chatter, Charlie. Right?
Yeah.
Always answering our questions for us, right on it. Should we change your last name to Chatter?
No.
No.
I don't care.
I'm just being silly, but it did. You do love to answer questions for us. So, third graders, in our story today, why is Mrs. Teachwell's class so confused when she shows them Rome on the map? Chloe, what happens? Why is she so confused? Why are they so confused?
Because she said that this is Rome and this is Rome.
Perfect. She points to Rome in more than one spot, right? She points to the tiny black dot, and then kind of from the description, they say it goes from all ends of the map. So we're looking at over here to over here. Does it seem like the same place can be in such a big area? Can it? Like, can you have like Rome and then like Rome? That's confusing, right? When she's like, this is Rome, but also this is all Rome. That could be a little bit of a confusing concept. On the next page, page 3, we see Mrs. Teachwell and her students looking at a map showing us Rome. So we see that black dot labeled Rome, and then that much larger area outlined in yellow that's also known as Rome. Go ahead and turn to Rome started as a tiny city or a town near where? Put your finger on it. Near the Tiber River. Very good. So we know it's going to be right next to that. Go ahead and turn the page for me, please. Tiber River. Perfect. Third graders, I would like everyone to find the word civilization or civilizations and put their finger on it in our text, please. Perfect. We're going to be able to find it in bold. What do we know about bold words?
You can look in the back of the book.
And it is no different. You are correct. We can turn to the glossary if we would like at the back of our book to find civilization. I will do it for you today to save some time. Civilization is going to be on there. It says a group of people living together. Does this sound familiar? They often have the same cities, the same laws, leaders to form a government. They have the same language and the same writing system. When we have all of those things, we call it a civilization. Very good. Third graders, I want you to read. I want you to read today to find out why does Charlie think the Roman civilization is like Egypt? So read to find out why he thinks that Egypt and the Roman civilization are alike. Go ahead and read. Graders, why does Charlie think the Roman civilization is like Egypt? Only 1, 2, 3, 4 people know why the Roman civilization is like Egypt. Kyler, what did you read today? That why Charlie thinks the Roman civilization is like Egypt?
Because many civilizations sprung up along the banks of the river.
Yeah, many civilizations, our text tells us, many civilizations spring up among the banks of the river. But how is that like Egypt?
Because Egypt is a civilization.
And where is it located? Haley, help him out. Where is Egypt located, according to our text?
On the Nile.
Fabulous. The Nile is going to be another river. Like Egypt on the Nile? Charlie asked. He's making a great connection, right? He noticed that Rome was built near the Tiber River. Egypt was built near the Nile. A lot of them were built up around that area. Third graders, I want to read the second to last paragraph to you. And as I think it's an important one to take with us as we go. Then the Romans fought wars with their neighbors. The Romans won most of the wars. They defeated the Etruscans, who lived north of them. They conquered the Greeks, who had settled to the south as well. It wasn't long before they controlled most of this piece of land that we call Italy. So it started out as just a few homes on a hill, and then all 7 hills. And before long, they had what? They had conquered all this land. And when they conquered them, how did they do it? Through what? Through what? Through wars. They were fighting in order to get that land. Very good. Go ahead and turn the page. Perfect. Third graders, on page 6 and page 7, we see the Mediterranean. Go ahead and point to that word Mediterranean again. You can find it in the text as well as the picture. Go ahead and sit up, look like learners. Find the Mediterranean in the text. Put your finger on it. Take your other hand and point to the Mediterranean in our picture. We are seeing much more text features than we have before. We're starting to see those maps roll in, right? We're talking about a specific location that's going to be telling us different locations of things. So we see the Mediterranean on our map. It's that sea right there. And we also see right there in our text, Mediterranean. Turn and show your neighbor. You might have to pick up your book. Fabulous, holding each other accountable to doing your job.
There's also 3. Mediterranean.
3,
Mediterranean.
2, 1. Third graders, on this map, Egypt is not located. It's not labeled anyway. But could you start to identify maybe where it would be? What can help you? Emery, what can help us? Even though it's not, it doesn't say Egypt on our map. Using our knowledge we just built up, what's going to help us find about where it would be located? What is it by? We know that Egypt is by the... Kyler, help her out. What's Egypt by?
The Red Sea.
Not the Red Sea. Claire? Yes, Egypt is by the...
Nile.
Remember our text that we just read? It told us that Egypt is on the Nile. So even though it is not, Egypt is not located on that map there, we are still able to find it, at least generally where it would be, because we see the Nile River there. Very good. Third graders, I want you to read to find out what other countries or areas did Rome take over. What other countries and areas did Rome take over? What other areas at its height did Rome take over? Grayson. It took over Turkey. Let's see. Claire. Egypt. Great. Lexi.
It took over North Africa.
Yeah, North Africa. Turkey. Egypt. North Africa. Chloe.
They took over Greece.
Greece. Okay. Ryder.
Like this one they call Balkans.
The Balkans. Very good. They took over the Balkans. Cooper.
Middle East.
They took over the Middle East. They took over all this land at the height of it. And they did it by what? By fighting the war. So third graders, I want us to turn the page and look at the next page. Third graders, I want you to imagine what it would be like to have ancient buildings like this one in your town or home that we live in today. What would it be like if we had, or sorry, I forgot to turn the page up here. What would it be like if we had ancient buildings that looked like this in our own hometown? How would you feel? What would that be like? Charlie.
It would be like really cool. You could be over there like every day finding stuff like little pieces of.
Now it looks like you could, but look what's all around it too. There's fence. They don't want you in that area. Good. Would it be kind of weird to have that just kind of like in your town? Yeah, that would be very weird. Very weird. Third graders, I would like you to go ahead and read page 8 and 9 to yourself.